You can't set boundaries for other people. What does that mean? I hear people so many times saying, I've set a boundary, right? And someone crossed it. What do you mean? Well, I told him I didn't want him to wear that. So you set a boundary because you didn't want your partner to wear a certain thing? Yeah. Well, you can't set a boundary for what other people do. You set boundaries for yourself. Okay? You're like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. What you prefer, but you can't tell other people what to wear. And that's not a boundary. Well, I don't let my wife go out dressed like that. You know, I was in a big old TikTok battle over that. Oh, well, he just loves her telling her how to dress. She thought it was pretty cute. She went out in it. He told her she couldn't wear it or they weren't going to the beach. He set a boundary. He's just setting boundaries. You can't set a boundary with someone else's body. Okay, so if someone says something, they're like, oh my gosh, I love pepperoni pizza with pineapple. And someone else is like, oh my God, that's inappropriate. Don't talk like that. People can hear you. Is that a boundary? They're setting a boundary that they don't want you to say certain things. Is that them setting a boundary for themselves? Or is that putting conditions on you? It is putting conditions on you. When someone says that something you say is their boundary, well, you can't talk like that. You don't know. You never know. You don't know. You don't have a list of things you're not allowed to talk about. But if you say something or you say it too loud and it triggers their shame body, then they tell you it's inappropriate and they tell you that you made them feel a certain way and they said they set a boundary. Even if they hadn't set a boundary prior, they feel like it's a boundary that they set on your words. So just like the clothes example, you can't set a boundary for what other people are allowed to say. Okay, that they're not saying to you. If someone says to you, you're a you could be like, boundary, you will not talk to me that way. But if someone's sitting there talking about their day or something they did or something they're interested in, and you don't like that their voice is too loud or that other people can hear them, or it's embarrassing, or it's not a reflection of you. The other person is a divine, sovereign individual. You can't set boundaries for what other people say about themselves and other people. That's not a boundary. That's abuse. That's control. That's conditional friendship. That's conditional love. That's pussy whipping somebody. You know, back in my day, that's what they'd call it. Telling somebody what they can say, how loud they can talk, what's appropriate, what's inappropriate. That's controlling. That's abusive. That's gaslighting. That's not a boundary. Another example in my spiritual advising stuff is someone said, well, I set a boundary. And so my wife can't go, she's not going to go to, like, say, such and such library or this book place or, or she's not going to go see friend, say a friend named Sarah. I've set a boundary and she can't do that because that bothers me. And I'm like, that's not a boundary. You don't set a boundary of saying, well, I've set a boundary. You can't go to so-and-so's house. You can't love this person. You can't go out and eat, fattening things. You can't go to that particular library or that particular coffee shop or hang out with that particular person because I've set a boundary. That's narcissistic, abusive control. That's not a boundary. They can't setting a boundary over your body, where you go, what you do, who you like, who you love, who you spend time with is not a boundary. That's controlling and abusive. That's their own trigger and trauma. And they haven't dealt with their own dark night of the soul. And so they want to control you so they feel better about themselves. They want you to be their version of you. So they'll love you more, or you'll be worthy to hang out with. So you'll be worthy for them to love you and be like, okay, well, yep, I'm proud to be with this person because she does what I say and she says what I say or want her to say and she goes where I want her to go, so I'm proud to be with her. She's worthy. You don't need to be worthy to anybody. Your job is to be true to yourself. No one gets to set boundaries for you about you, okay? If you have an opinion of where your spouse goes, that's controlling. Oh, it makes me feel bad because you want to go to the coffee shop without me and you want to go and hang out with this and that friend, and I don't want you to. Okay, that's controlling. That's their own insecurities, their own shame body, their own sense of unworthiness. If you want to go and do something and you're not going to do it, then you're living a lie. If you love something, if you're passionate about something, if something's fun for you or inspiring and you want to do it and you don't because you don't want your partner to feel bad or because they've set a boundary that you're not allowed to do it, then you don't need to be with them. If you're willing to completely alter yourself, dumb down, be miserable to be with someone because they got their boundaries and then they're like, I set a boundary, it's a healthy boundary. No, it's controlling and abusive. I counsel so many people spiritually about, well, I just don't want to hurt him, or I just don't want to hurt her, or it's not the time to leave because, they're going to feel bad and they need more space and, maybe they'll be suicidal, which is a manipulation, or they're not going to like it and I need to appease them and I need to this and they'll tell me just a whole bunch of stuff and I'll be like, what about you? You're willing to feel bad. You're willing to feel oppressed. You're willing to feel depressed and unexcited about life and just miserable all the time because you want to make sure that your partner's okay, but you want to leave them, but you just don't know when the right time to leave them is. Ask yourself why you're willing for you to suffer so they don't suffer. Believe me, I know. I did it for over a decade. The thing is that there was never a good time to leave. There was never let's wait till she's okay and she's at a better place and I need her to be okay. Never once considering I wasn't okay. Leave now. You only have the now moment. Be happy now. Well, we're going to work on it. You're going to work on your relationship? Oh, good luck with that. If you're not being true to yourself, screw your relationship. It doesn't matter. Okay? And don't be like, I'm staying for the kids. Kids know. And then kids know that later in life they can suffer through a relationship and not have love either because mom did it, dad did it. I don't need love. I just have to suffer. If you want to be somewhere else or doing something else and you're just sitting there miserably because you think you're placating your partner, making them okay, why not make you okay? You're literally creating physical reality with every belief. When you sit there in a life that you don't want to be in, more of a life you don't want comes to you. When you move into the life you want to be living, even though it hurts and even though it's scary and even if you're penniless and even if you're living in the street, if you make the move that's your truth, then more of your truth will come to you. More money, more gifts, more... there's just so many different things will come to you that are your true self, any synchronicity. And things will leave your life that aren't your true self. But if you're choosing every day to live in a way that's not about your true self, you're going to draw to you more in your physical reality, literally people and things and buildings and timelines to do with a reality you don't want to be living in because you're sitting there telling the universe, yeah, this is what I like. I want to make sure my partner's okay and it don't matter if I'm okay. And then your kids are going, yeah, that's what I'm going to do when I grow up too.